Radio, its sponsors, or affiliates.
All right, welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Good morning, everyone out there. I'm Harvey Freed. We got a whole show for you today. 1 hour's worth of Hardcore Mortgage Talk, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Across from me, Alex Nafusi.
I like soup.
Yeah, you do.
Please don't throw it at me, but
Harry Glenn's over here to my right. There it is, Harry.
You threw a bowl of soup at me, you wouldn't be suspended.
Yeah, Broski, I would never. That would never even cross my mind to do something like that. That's
Funny
just
stuff.
stupid.
Hey, we brought Matt Patanti in. And we got a real insurance guy in here. Hey, Matt, welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me, Harvey.
Of course, from Lenahan Versical Insurance Agency. And
Andy LaSalle in Michigan State.
we got a lot to talk about. I did the whole lookup on Matt. And, Matt, I didn't know you were so handsome and you had the right haircut and everything. We walked in here almost like twins,
good.
Harry.
Two bald guys.
There's a whole planet of you guys somewhere. You know that?
Very
I like
funny.
that. It wouldn't be cool for a guy by the name of Harry to have no hair. Or maybe it would be ironic.
Yes, it would be.
I don't know, maybe. It's
don't know.
cool. I've known Matt for a long time. Matt, we've known each other for at least 15, 16 years. And I always found you really
Very
easy to
handsome.
talk to. No, I'm not that.
I think he's handsome.
Matt's a relationship-oriented guy. He gets things done. He's a man of his word. Plus, guess what? He likes sports, which isn't a bad thing, right, Matt?
That's right, Harry.
Matt was
Thanks,
an
buddy.
accomplished athlete in his day.
Matt Patanti has the all-time completion percentage record at Michigan State. He's
one for one?
He played quarterback at Michigan State.
I know.
He's 1 for 1 for 8 yards.
No, Alex.
Oh, what is it?
It was 9 yards.
Oh, 9 yards.
Well, that's good.
Matt, we checked out the bio and you definitely
Did you check down?
Go
with the
green,
running
bro.
back?
Matt,
It
you
went
got
to the flat, yeah.
Okay, I figured.
Matt, you definitely got a sports background, and what's cool about that is a lot of us did. You know, growing up, it's funny how many guys that were into athletics as a young kid and how it molds and shapes a lot of our youth. And, I think it plays a part in everyone's life. But, of course, it brings a lot. It brings teamwork and honesty and a lot of great things that you bring into your business life. So it's great to have you on. I know you and Alex do a lot of business together, and it sounds like you're a great guy to have on your team. We'll talk about homeowners insurance, the different things you should be asking your insurance company. One of the things I read last night here, and, of course, we'll always get into mortgages and real estate. One of the things I read last night, Matt, was, really just reading your policy and maybe even sitting down with your insurance guy. This is also one of those type of things that you think you can just make that phone call, but maybe it's worthwhile to sit down with your insurance guy once a year.
It sure is, Harvey. Before I got into the insurance business, I had no idea what any of the numbers on those pages actually meant. And as it turns out, they're very important. Most people are concerned about one thing and one thing only when it comes to insurance, and that's paying less money. And in a lot of cases, that's good. But at the same time, if you're underinsured, you're going to have a problem. So
Wait a minute. You just can't go on a website, plug in a couple numbers, get 5 quotes, and say,
You
let's
can't
do
download
it?
an app and get insurance?
well, you certainly
can't do that?
You certainly can do that. But the question is that a good idea?
Well, of course, in my opinion, I don't think it's a good idea because what happens when you have a claim? What happens if, my roof gets caved in because we had some crazy wild snow over the last 3 days and it snows some incessantly amount of snow, and then all of a sudden it turns into, ice, and I have ice dams, and Harvey and I talked about that yesterday, and my roof caves in. Do I get to call Jared from State Farm, or do I call Matt?
Oh, jeez.
Well, I guess
that's
at the end of the day,
I mean,
gonna be in trouble.
isn't that what we're talking about? We're talking about relationships.
yeah,
so I
we're
call
talking
a
about
guy.
relationships.
Yeah, and I apologize to all my friends that are insurance agents. Harvey and Alex booked this guy, but I've known him forever. It's okay.
Wait, Jared was the Subway guy. It's Jake from State
Oh, it's
Farm.
Jake from State Farm. Yeah, I can't remember. So what happens? What happens when your house, when you have a claim? Here, my opinion is you call your person and then they take care of it. You're calling a professional.
Yeah.
You're not calling an 800 number, toll-free number. Then what happens? So, that's how I feel about it, Matt. Why shouldn't I feel that way?
No, that's the way you should feel. And at the end of the day, the biggest, I guess, the statement that I make to all my clients, either before or after they become a client, is you're going to call me, you're going to call my cell phone, you're going to call me 24/7. And that makes a huge difference because we will become the advocate for you in the event that there is a claim. Having somebody in between the 800 number and the person answering that phone makes a big difference because as an insured, you're not always competent about what the policy reads. So my biggest thing is being involved from the beginning to make sure that the claim gets filed properly on time and that we can be involved speaking directly to the adjuster.
Well, it's boots on the ground, right? I mean, you have something happen at your house, you're all freaked out about it, you got to call somebody, and you're the boots on the ground. You're the person that's going to make it happen because I'm telling you, Harvey, Alex, myself, people out there listening, They don't want to have to worry about it. They just want to call their person. They want to call you, and then you take care of it so they can go about the rest of their day.
And it's not always about the cheapest policy. You can get a policy that's junk that'll never, it'll be awful.
My opinion is you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
In life, you get what you don't want to be taken advantage of. You just want to be taken care of. Not taken advantage of, taken care of. And if you have that relationship with Matt or somebody like Matt, and they're going to take care of you, that's what you really pay for. That's it. In the event something happens, in his world, it's the events that could happen.
This is where I'm going with that. So, yes, I could Google lowest homeowners insurance premiums out there and plug in some numbers and probably save, I don't know, $100 a year. Matt's service to me is worth an extra $100, $200 a year, easily.
And what you'll find, especially in homeowners insurance, is that to be properly insured doesn't cost that much more. Mm-hmm. On a percentage basis. It really just doesn't.
I'm with you.
And the reason I give everybody my cell phone is because if you have a problem at your home in the middle of the night, insurance companies will pay mitigation firms a lot of money to stop the bleeding.
Yeah,
so
to
one
try
of
to
the
stay them.
biggest things is if you're calling an 800 number at 2 a.m., you're not getting somebody to answer your call and to stop the bleeding, right? Yeah. So what's going to happen is we're going to have somebody out at your house within 45 minutes of a phone
like
call.
when I called you at 9 o'clock?
Like when you called
flooded. We had John David out there from Emergency Restoration. They were there, but seriously, you were right. Within a half an hour, he had a whole crew of guys there taking care of the basement.
So give me the discussion you had with Matt. Matt, you're not going to believe this. My basement is crazy right now. So what did Matt say to you?
Call John David.
So actually, John
I called
David,
it a panic because it was still
coming
flooding.
in.
Yeah.
So John David owns a company called Emergency Restoration Services. So I have a guy that works for John David by the name of Jerry Satarski, and Jerry answers his phone like I answer my phone, which is all the time. So that to me is the biggest thing.
Because you're on the phone the whole time.
Hey, we're going to be talking all about different types of insurance, Matt. Not only homeowners insurance, of course, car insurance and having multiple policies, umbrella policies, different insurances that you also offer. And I think that's very important for anyone's fiscal, taking care of your fiscal house, which is what we do here on the show every Saturday. We've been pushing the envelope when it comes to providing information and knowledge to all of our clients. That's a great variable. That's what's helping families move forward and make the right decisions, especially younger people. It's not about pushing buttons, as we so often say. It's about the relationship and sitting down with families and finding out what their needs are so that you can move forward with anything and make it really easy for them to understand. And that's what we do at Capital Mortgage. Hey, we're going to be talking about homeowners insurance and purchasing and refinancing houses, debt consolidation, buying and selling houses, all of that and more here on the show all morning long. We wanted to tell you that Ronnie J. and the whole staff is there at Capital Mortgage Funding, a 1-800-LOW-RATE. The best mortgage bank. That's where you can find all of us.
Sure, Rob's car's parked in the middle of the parking lot like usual.
You can pick on his
not on the spot.
Yeah, you can definitely pick on Ronnie's parking, but he's there to answer all your questions this morning, along with several other folks. Again,
great mortgage guy, bad parker.
You said that. That's going to go on the back of his business card for now on.
His baseball card.
Also, we take all your calls here, 248-539-9797. A few things it's always nice to have an insurance guy in here. Like Harry said, there's a few things that with our weather here in Michigan that we got to deal with, and it's the ever-changing craziness of the weather. Monster snowstorm the other day. Yeah, I have a snow rake, an older cottage house, and definitely we snow rake the roof when it gets super heavy like that.
So I asked Harvey what he did the other night. He said he went up on his roof and he had to rake.
I didn't go up on it.
He had to rake his roof.
No, it's a big, long...
Yes, it's the big, long stick. Yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
Hey, good for him.
Well, because the ice backs up on the top.
Right.
Yeah,
well, here we have
2-3
days in almost the 60s because we live in Michigan and it's February, and of course it's 60 in February. And then as soon as March hits, we have this big snow and ice storm, and that's it. And you see what the Northeast is getting right now. They're getting killed with
the cyclone, whatever.
It's pretty wild. So how has that affected home buying? I mean, I saw you guys. We had a little email exchange during the week, and people were talking about how it said new home sales are down, new home starts are down, and Alex rattled off. See, there's a bubble, and people can't.
I didn't say bubble.
Well, wait a minute. People can't continue to buy $450,000 homes when they only make $60,000 a year and all that kind of thing. And I understand that's true. And we understand that, nationally, remember, this is the 7th year of a crazy home buying cycle. So it might be off from last year, but here in southeastern Michigan and the entire state of Michigan for that matter, home buying is absolutely right now the hottest that it's ever been. And what we're seeing is, we're still seeing, Alex, and you like to use the word bubble, and we do too, and they use it in economic terms as well, is that home prices are still going up. They're still going up. There are so many purchase transactions coming in right now, year after year, for the last 7 years. it's been an increasing market. What does that mean for everybody around here? It means that, listen, properties are getting snapped up. If you don't have a team, why do we have Matt Bottani in? Why do we have accountants in? Why do we have attorneys in? Because you have to assemble your team to make sure that, and your real estate agent, so when you can afford the place, you're going to go ahead and put in an offer. You don't want to get in a bidding war. You want to put the best offer forward and make it the most attractive, and somebody knows that you're already pre-approved. So, because these properties are going to go. If it happened in January, gentlemen, if it happened in February, which I'm telling you it did, it's going to happen in March, April, May, and June, which is the hot market. There's going to be multiple offers put in. So you need to be more than adequately prepared. You need to be supremely prepared for this, and that's what's going on. So the market is very hot right now, and you cannot refute it. And if you want to say lack of inventory, lack of quality inventory, whatever inventory you want to say that's out there, the real good homes are getting snapped up.
Yeah,
and the prices are not coming down.
No, it's a great point, Harry. If it's busy now, it's going to even be busier. It's supply and demand at the end of the day. And a lot of the families out there, as mortgage rates did move up over the last 2 months, and we got a little break yesterday in a couple days, but as rates have moved up, it's become less affordable for even the soon-to-be empty nesters to move in. A lot of families do want to downsize, Harry. We see that so often, even in our age group.
A lot of it doesn't make sense.
Well, it just doesn't, because a lot of them entered into great refinance transactions. When you had so many families getting 15-year fixes in 3% range, now they're looking at 4.5 or above on a 30-year, and they're trying to downsize. Well, the payment's almost the same, and now they're looking at downsizing. But then, of course, their taxes become uncapped. They might have lived in the property for a long time, and several reasons why it just doesn't make sense. So, again, if our older generation, if that group of individuals don't want to sell their homes, there's going to be a lack of inventory out there.
It's funny. I was talking to my father the other day about that, and he was there like, we should downsize, and I'm like, guys, if you're better off hiring a full landscaping crew, cleaning crew, whatever, because it's going to cost you the same amount if you buy a smaller house.
Well, and again, yes, that's right. So you're going to sell your house at a high, but where are you going to move to?
At a high.
You're going to move to a smaller place at a high.
Yeah. There's I don't
know. I'm staying.
Yeah, just stay put, man.
Right, I'm staying. What's wrong with that?
Well, and I like the pool in the summer, so, but I'm going to lose that.
We want to hear from you, 248-539-9797. Got open lines all morning long.
Hey, did you guys hear something? I think it's kind of fun. The HUD chief, Ben Carson.
Oh, goodness.
Did you guys hear this?
Oh,
tell us, Harry.
So HUD chief Ben Carson, he moves to cancel his order for a $31,000 dining room set.
Where's the dining room? In his office or his house?
You guys know, in a weird way, and you like to reference this, you know who's paying for that?
Me.
We are. Everybody. Do you really need a $31,000 dining room set?
Did you hear his quote that said you can't get a chair for $5,000?
I don't get this. I mean, this is. And by the way, why would you say that publicly?
Well,
I don't know.
He was a brain surgeon before he fell into this position, so he might have a few dollars.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with anything?
But to use a crazy quote, this isn't brain surgery. Hey, I know Stoney says crazy stuff on the air, but who goes out to the public with taxpayer money and says, yeah, well, you ever see a cost of a dining room set?
Where do you find it? I mean, I'm just a regular dude, but where do you find a $31,000 dining room set?
They're out there. You get it handmade. You cut down the tree.
Can you get it at Art Van?
No.
Hey, maybe.
I like Art Van.
I do. I like Art Van.
All right. I'll tell you what. That music says we're up against our first break. Well, we got tons to share with you. We're going to dive into buying, selling, homeowners insurance, things you need to look out for. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All right, welcome back to the show. 9:33. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. That's where you can find us all week long, all weekend long at 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. truly get that approval letter and make sure that you're educated and get that knowledge that you need. Many of you will be looking to make that move this year. Get informed. It's our job as mortgage professionals here, truly, to counter the misinformed ideas about that you need 20% down, how PMI and mortgage insurance works, and again, funds to close and everything involved in a mortgage transaction. There are a lot of moving steps that happen all very quickly within a 30-day period. And you having that knowledge and confidence with your team. And Suresh, that's one of the things we're going to talk about. I'll go to Mark first, and then we'll dive into how we work with buyers. Sure. Again, we want to hear from you. 248-539-9797. Mark, you're live on the ticket.
Good morning, gentlemen.
What's up, Mark?
Good morning.
Situation is simple. I have a house approximately in Farmington Hills. I'd say the value is approximately $300,000. I have an outstanding balance on my mortgage of probably about $95,000. I had to take over my daughter's house in North Oak Park after she was divorced and my ex-son-in-law defaulted on the land contract, so I have to absorb all of that. So 2 questions. Am I better off rolling everything into one, or am I better off trying? I don't know if she's got a good enough credit to stand alone on her mortgage at this point.
I mean, you can do a refinance on your house and take some cash out and pay off the land contract if you want. That might be a good way to go. It's going to save you some costs and closing cost wise and rate wise.
So you could do the cash 80% cash out on the $300 brings you up to $240 if
you
you're
got plenty of equity, man.
How much does she owe on her land contract?
Well, the house is roughly $65,000. Right now, her house is on my home equity.
Well, 100%. Yeah.
So refinance and get it off.
Do a refinance on your primary residence.
Let's
pay
get
it
rid of
off.
that.
And then yell at her and make her pay you back.
So, Mark, I know you grew up in the neighborhood because you referred to it as North Oak Park, because back in the day there was just one Oak Park, and then they built 696. Right. Now there's North Oak Park. So, hey, that's where I grew up, all right? So I know one when I hear one, okay?
Right on.
There you go. I love it.
Hey,
appreciate it.
Hey, Mark, way to step up for your daughter. And
That's
again,
good.
you'll teach her the right way, but we'll call you after the show and see if we can do a consolidation loan, give you the equity to go ahead and pay off your home equity loan.
We'll take care of it for you, my man.
There's no way to do anything with her to help get her credit back.
Well, let's take a look.
We got to take a look at it.
Mark, it's a great question, though. So I have some great software that I'll run your daughter's credit, and I can run her through the software, and it'll tell us what we have to pay off or pay down and the impact it'll have on her credit scores. So it's a stepping process, man. I mean, I don't want her to lose that house because she defaulted on a land contract.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, she won't lose it because I've got it. So.
Yeah.
Right. Well, it's a good area, and it's appreciating, and you know that. So.
It was a foreclosure when we bought it. So
yeah, it's a very strong area. The school district's really strong. Berkeley schools.
All the kids want All the kids want to move there now. Hey, Mark, thanks for the call. We'll definitely follow up with you.
Mark, you're a good dad, dude.
I've been telling you that forever.
Yes.
I've been telling you how good Berkeley schools are.
What, Berkeley?
Come on.
It's you're right. It's what is it, like 2 or 3 in the state for the. What is it? They still do meets?
Yeah.
Am I that old or no?
You want to promote Berkeley every chance you get, Alex.
I love Berkeley.
You should.
That's right.
I do.
You should.
Dude, that's my stomping ground, man.
Yes,
we have open lines here, 248-539-9797. We're going to talk to Suresh about some other difficult things that were involved in mortgages and purchasing. But definitely, he brought up something that was really interesting, credit. Mm-hmm. It's still a mystery to some people out there. It's pretty simple. If you want to go ahead and build credit, you have to get credit. And this is the key to it. If no one's telling you, the young people this, they need to start somewhere. And again, 920. What a gorgeous day outside. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Always give us a call. 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. That's 1-800-569-7283. You got to have the local people represent you properly. It's all about the education. And again, getting that education behind you give you the confidence to move forward. I've been talking to a lot of first-time home buyers this year, and I really feel like something changed, hopefully, and it works that way, is that they really do have an earning for the knowledge and figuring out how does this all work. So it's pretty exciting.
Yearning, Harvey. Yearning for it.
Did I get it right? Yearning?
But definitely earning for knowledge.
Okay. Thank you for correcting me, but I appreciate that. Definitely, though, but it's cool to find out.
I just wanted to talk.
Where do you fit into this home buying thing? And a lot of families, Alex, and we've been getting a plethora of families that have been calling us about taking a look at paying off their land contract. So many families got stuck in that situation where they didn't qualify. They might have did a short sale, and again, they immediately needed to get a new home. Whatever the situation was that put you into a land contract, give us a call now while the rates are still at all-time lows. Also, you can pay off the land contract, and a lot of times if you qualify, take some equity out of the house to pay off other debts. Again, your land contract holder will be happy to get paid off on it. And more importantly, it could really start building your credit up, as mortgages are typically reported to your credit, always reported, where your land contract's not. So a lot of things you can do to help your financial house out is really get that credit under control. Again, we take your calls here, 248-539-9797. Talk a little bit about the cost of new construction, because, of course, that's what's been going on. The Canadians, actually, that was the first thing. The cost of lumber, a lot of it comes from Canada, has gone up recently. We have it's always about supply and demand. And of course, we had wildfires out in California and the hurricane down in Houston this year. So there's a demand for lumber. And of course, we need all these builders to start building houses, but we are going to see a little bit of cost go up. Matt, how does that work in the world of construction? You know, someone's getting a new house. Is there some things that you want to point out to all the new families out there that might be building a new house, and what type of new construction policy they would want to get?
Yeah, so depending on where you're at in the process, there's a couple of different ways to go, and this is when it's really important to sit down with your insurance agent. So in the event that you're building a home, even before, we have to insure it on what's called a builder's risk policy as the shovel goes into the ground, okay? And we're insuring it for the entire amount that is intended for the finished product.
The cost of the project.
The cost of the project is what we're going to insure that home for. Once it's done, then it would be insured just like any other home on an HO3 policy. But there's, the insurance companies have spent millions and millions of dollars on technology to help us determine what a true replacement cost should be. And that's where we find a lot of issues for insureds, is that they're underinsured. And in the event that you have a loss, whether it's a total loss or a partial loss, you could end up with a coinsurance problem, meaning that you could end up with, 40, 50, 60 cents on a dollar on the claim that should be paid in full.
Hey, Matt, at this time of year, do you get, because, we just turned into 2018 and people are starting to do their taxes right now. We know that the tax deadline to file is coming up. Do you get a lot of people that want to sit down and go over their insurance coverages on an annual basis and just kind of want to brush up on what they have, and then you sit down with them, tell them maybe you need a little bit more here or there? I mean, take me through that, because I know I do that every year, but I'm just wondering if other people, what your standard operating procedure with your clients is.
So it's something that we do in the very beginning, especially when it's a new client coming in. We want to make sure that we review what they have. We're going to look at what they should have, and then we'll talk about areas where they may be under or overinsured. Maybe we can save them money, maybe we can't. But I can promise you, at the end of the day, they're gonna know what they have and know what all of these numbers mean. So
life circumstances change.
Yep.
I mean, when you're younger, you take out a lot of insurance, and then all of a sudden you start having children. You want to make sure your family is covered, and then as you get older, the needs might be a little less or a little more depending on your circumstances. And you really have to take a look at that. And I know you do all types of insurance. We're talking specifically homeowners insurance because this is the Hardcore Mortgage, Real Estate, and Business Show. But I think it's important for people to, you want to protect your family. God forbid something unforeseen comes up, and they need to utilize your services in a really rough circumstance.
Yeah, and I think the one thing that most people don't understand is that, when you buy auto insurance or you buy homeowners insurance, you're doing that to protect the property that you have. Everyone thinks, if I get in an accident, I got to make sure that, my car can get fixed. But more importantly, and the real reason that we have these insurance policies, in my opinion, is the liability side. Okay? In the event that you were to injure somebody in an auto accident, you could theoretically get wiped out. You might be underinsured in that area. Your home, the difference in premium to have $300,000 in liability coverage versus $1 million in liability coverage is $19 a year.
A year. Yeah. And is that the policy? Like if you hit
say that again, $19 a year
for $700,000 extra.
So transferring $700,000 in risk to an insurance company for $19.
Yeah. So what that says is, so if I blast a tee shot, it's 2 fairways over, and hit someone on the head, and hit someone in the head, and I get sued, I'm covered for up to $1 million.
Right. So things that happen at your home. A lot of people, younger families, you have kids coming to your home, swimming pools, whatever might happen. There's no reason not to have at least $1 million in liability coverage on your home. You can then, for a very inexpensive amount of money, add an umbrella to increase your liability coverage that goes over top of both your home and your auto.
Matt, this time of year, we're always reminding each other and people out there, you move your clocks, spring forward, and all that. That's
Is that
important.
tomorrow or next week?
Next week.
It's coming up. But again, that time of year signifies really take a look at your insurance policy. This is really something. I'm glad we actually had you on today. I'm thinking as you're talking, how many people I need to reach out to, including ourselves, to say, hey, let's look at that policy and make sure that we're definitely covered for what could happen here. And again, I mean, lo and behold, there's meteors coming out of the sky now that are going to hit our houses.
Harry, don't go there. We're good. I don't know. There's no meteor coverage.
But there's no, again,
acts of God.
Do you, for hurricanes here in Michigan, again, it seems like we escaped some of the bad things out there weather-wise, but we still have tornadoes and things of that nature. But it's worthy to find out. And again, with water and flood, things like that, a backup sub pumps that could break. You need to know what you're covered for. And again, you say for a small amount of dollar, and there's a variable on the cost on these things, but for a small amount of money, you probably could really cover yourself and have that peace of mind. That's what it's all about, having the peace of mind and the protection.
Yeah, you mentioned another big coverage that is often missed. It's called water backup of sewers or drains or sump pump overflow. We had a rain here in August of 2014. A lot of people had a problem with, and they may have had $5,000 in that coverage, or they may have had nothing. There's three ways that water gets into your home. Okay, the first way would be that if a pipe were to burst, right? If the pipe bursts, you're going to have coverage up to the entire dwelling amount. Okay. All right, that's number one. Number two is the water backup of sewers or drains. Now that means that if water backs up from the drain, comes up into your basement, all right, or your sump pump fails and water gets into your basement that way, you would have no coverage on a standard insurance policy. That is an excluded coverage unless you add it back in via an endorsement. All right. So water backups of sewers or drains, the difference again between having $5,000, $10,000, and $25,000 is not that much. Right?
Small amount of money to really cover yourself.
What's the third way?
The third way would be truly flood. Okay. People use the term "my basement flooded," but actual flood coverage is when water pools up outside of your home and then rushes in. Maybe it rushes in through a window that's in your basement, or if you actually live on a floodplain and water were to come. Now, most people especially in Michigan, do not have flood insurance.
What about your grading? What happens if you're poorly graded and it comes down? What is that called?
That was my next point, Harry.
Yeah.
You have to really make sure that if you have a landscaper come out, that they know what they're doing. Because if you have a landscaper, maybe somebody unlicensed, trying to save a little bit of money, and they pitch your landscaping the wrong way, and it results in water pooling outside your home and rushing in, you're going to have absolutely no coverage for that.
Oh, my gosh, I did not know that.
That's not good.
Always a lot of great information. All right, be sure to give us a phone call here if you want to talk to Matt about insurances and stuff. We're going to continue the conversation about mortgages, real estate, and everything that's going on that has to do with your house. 248-539-9797.
So you guys, how I know we're getting really, really busy now, and we've been busy, is because the property value situation has come up again. All right, we're having to rebut appraisals, and there's a tremendous amount of activity, like we've talked about, in the home purchase market. So therefore, people are paying a little bit more to get the house. So the appraisal, Alex, your favorite topic.
Yep.
Appraisal's not coming in at the purchase price or the agreed to amount. So it might come in $5,000 less, $10,000 less. So there's that decision again. So I'm seeing a lot of that happening. I'm seeing, not a lot of it. I'm seeing more and more as it gets busier and busier because people are paying more than what houses sold for over the winter and the previous fall.
Let's
talk about that after the break.
Absolutely,
but that and a whole lot more. We'll also talk about some down payment requirements. You can get in with zero down. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll be right back.
97.1 The Ticket.
Hi, Harry Glanson Danberg for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Groseal, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
All right, welcome back to the show. 9:47, a good morning out there to everyone who's listening. The Hardcore Mortgage Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283.
About 17 years.
Yeah, could barely get the number out. Here in the studio, we take calls. We have open lines, 248-539-9797. Let's go to our call, and then we'll still talk about some buying and sell tactics that are going to really help families out there. Let's go out to Glenn. Hey, good morning, Glenn. You're live on the ticket.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Hey, man, what's
Real
up?
good.
Morning.
I've got kind of what I probably would think is a unique situation. Years ago, probably over 10 years ago, I went to school out in Arizona, and while I was in school, I signed my house over to my parents. I did what's called a quit claim, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
Yep, you signed the title over to them, just the title.
Yeah, I signed the house over to them so that they could take care of things just in case. And since then, though, through 10%, not things out of my control, but 90% of it within my control, I just screwed up. I let my credit go into a tailspin. I mean, it was pretty irresponsible of me. But since then, I've finally been busting my butt, and I've got my credit back up to a 658, which isn't awesome, but compared to what I was at, I think it's
Good
pretty
job, man. Good job.
But what I want to know is, what do I need to do to get that house back in my name? I mean, I've been paying that house payment, every month, but through them, I've been doing it.
All right, so-
but I want to get the house back in my name now.
All right, Glenn, couple of questions, man. So you put your parents on title via quitclaim deed,
Yeah.
but there's still a mortgage in your name.
No, the mortgage, everything. They put everything in their name. So what I'm trying to do is just get the house back in my name now.
Okay.
Now that I think my credit's where it should be.
Sell it to
Is
them.
there a mortgage on the house?
Yes.
How did
is 97.1 The Ticket.
Brought to you by Bob Evans. Number 2 Michigan State taking on number 15 Michigan today at Madison Square Garden. It's the Big Ten Tournament semifinals. You can hear it at AM 950 WWJ. Broadcast starts at 1:30. Tip-off at 2 p.m. Spartans get there. We'll win number 13 in a row, getting past Wisconsin 63-60. For Michigan, it was avenging an earlier season loss to Nebraska 77-58. Muhammad Ali Abdur-Rahman 21 points in that one. The other Big Ten matchup today, the other semifinal, is number 8 Purdue taking on Penn State. Both the Pistons and Wings both go down, both on the road. Pistons losing to Loyola Orlando in OT, 115-106. Wings fall to Winnipeg, 4-3. At the Ticket Update Desk, I'm Jeff Lesson. For more, 97.1theticket.com.
Download the all-new radio.com app and listen to 97.1 The Ticket anytime, anywhere.
97.1 The Ticket.
Little Detroit music there for you. Welcome back to the Hardcore Mortgage Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. 1-800-LOW-RATE is where you're going to find us. 1-800-569-7283. Always call Capital Mortgage. You're going to save money on closing costs. Get the best, lowest interest rates, but get the knowledge you need to make the great decisions.
You know, that's one of the most famous rock and roll guitar riffs of all time.
I like it.
I'm just saying.
I like it. Little local music here. Hey, we brought Matt Patani in. We have an insurance agent in, which is great. Matt, you've been awesome so far, and we'll keep things rolling here. Of course, hopefully anyone out there listening gives Matt a call, or even call your own insurance guy and find out what they got going, because that's the one thing we realize with most families is when you look to call the insurance guy, you find out, oh, you're not covered, and it's nice to hear you're covered. I'm going to tell you a quickie is we want to take your phone calls before that, 248-539-9797. But sure enough, Harry, I ended up getting a flat tire on one of those potholes the other day, and I call my insurance.
Did you really?
Yeah, I had a nice
So
one
did my
here.
dad.
7:30. It's dark. It is a one-lane road. Anyways, I pull off in a well-lit area, but more importantly, I called the insurance company and the car insurance, and I'm no names here, and they said, "Oh no, you have towing coverage." And at the end of the day, I was covered. And then they take the car to the dealership, and I had the tire coverage. So I got to tell you, a week, which would typically be Matt and I, of course, we say we're pulling our hair out over here. But the fact of the matter is,
That's impossible.
Yeah, you guys can never do that.
Other than a little bit of a hassle, having some people having to drive me back and forth to the dealership, hey, I was covered. And I'll tell you, it took a bad situation, and it made it okay.
Sure.
And it's
well,
fine.
good. You know, before the break, we were talking about property values, and it's that time of year now where people are putting in purchase agreements, and the market is very hot right now. And people are, slightly overpaying, and I'm using that term, and I've got the air quotes going, overpaying. It's really not overpaying if you want that property. However, the appraisal value could come in lower than the anticipated purchase price that you want to agree at, the agreement that you've had to buyer and seller. And people always say, well, Harry, if we agreed to it, if buyer and seller agrees to the price, well, then that's the price. Well, that is a true statement in and of itself. The however is it doesn't have to appraise for what you guys agree to sell it for. Okay, so if I buy something, I can pay whatever I want for it, and that's a great country that we live in, okay? However, when I send out an appraiser, the appraiser might not agree that the property is worth what you have agreed to buy it for. So what happens then? Property value comes in a little bit lower than the agreed to price, and we have decisions to make. Did we know going in that this could happen? Was it negotiated up front to say, hey, listen, if it comes in lower, we're going to negotiate it lower, or are you going to take your chances, flip a coin, and see what happens? That's the time of year that we're in right now. So don't be surprised if when you go ahead and you decide that you want to make that offer on whatever specific purchase price you guys agree to in the transaction, that the value could come in from an appraiser a little bit lower. And that's not that big of a deal if you're okay with it.
No, you can't. You can't overpay for something that you really, really want. If you really want, whatever, 123 Maple Street, you can pay whatever you want for it, man.
Yeah,
but the issue is, I can only lend you money based on what the house appraises for.
Now, so what happens in that case, if you're working with a realtor, and the realtor knows this, the realtor's pulled comps, and the realtor sees that, okay, they've agreed to 275 to throw out a number, but we have a feeling it might come in the 265, 270 range. What happens then? Okay, the answer is not, well, we'll just get another appraisal. It doesn't work that way. You can't do that. Specifically on an FHA transaction, because that appraisal travels with that property for how many months, guys?
4 or 6.
6 months. Yeah, 6 months. So it doesn't work that way. You can't just shop appraisals. It doesn't work that way. So you have a plan. The plan is for your realtors to get together before the offer's made, and you go over that, contingency plan, plan B, if you will. What happens if the appraisal comes in lower? And we're seeing a lot of that, Harvey.
Yep.
Go ahead, what you saw this week.
Yeah, I showed you when I brought it to the office, and the addendum was done ahead of time, and it basically said they agreed to purchase the house for $160,000, but a minimum of $150,000. They wrote on the addendum that they would pay $2,000 over the appraised value, but a minimum of $150,000. And not
basically there was a high-low in there.
Yeah, and they had it all set up ahead of time, so there's no surprise party. And again, that's what all the top agents are doing out there. Again, if you're overbidding on a property, we'll also have an agreement on what the high could be and the low could be. So that way, when the appraisal comes in, you're all set and ready to move forward. My client said to me, "Hey, Harvey, do you think this is a good deal?" I said to him, well, if you like the house at $160,000, you're definitely going to love it at $150,000. It was a few more dollars out of his pocket, right? But again, he was able to buy the right house.
Well, and on refinance transactions, we're finding the same thing right now. And I found a situation yesterday in an area of town where 2 years ago, homes were selling for, let's just say, $550,000, $575,000. Our client had a house, beautiful home, and it came in at $500,000. we were a little bit disappointed. But then when we went back and we did the homework and we pulled comps, we found out that nothing in the subject area has sold within the last year and a half. Now, on an appraisal, you try to go within the last year, and most importantly, close proximity to your subject, and that's how appraisers determine value. Now, I'll argue that if the gentleman, put the house on the market today, he could get $550, $575 all day long. But that's not what's happening currently.
Right.
So there you go. Quick appraisal lesson.
All right. Also, we'll talk real quick. 248-539-9797. I'd love to hear from you if you're thinking about refinancing your house. Again, we talked about paying off land contracts, doing debt consolidation. A lot of you families out there do have built-in equity. Now would be a great time to find out how you can actually save money and do the right thing for your family. One of the things is this painfully low inventory, Alex, low inventory, low supply of the great houses, as we say.
I love it when you guys get into it's just a lot of discussion via email, and I like watching it because it's fun.
You don't respond anymore. You don't even say anything.
I don't respond because I like because I don't want to respond because that'll just stop the conversation. Right. I want to see you guys go back and forth.
I like how Harvey signs emails. Respond kindly.
Yeah, that's good.
Not bad. Hey, Alex, I was going to ask Matt a question. So as property values have gone up and up and up. So let's just say you picked your house up for $200,000, whatever, 5 years ago, and now it's worth $300,000. Do you adjust your coverage based on the value of the property?
So with insurance, that's one of the big misconceptions is that we don't operate with market value. We operate with replacement cost, okay? So in most cases, the insured is going to have to deal with insuring their home for more than the market value, right? Because the property, what it would cost to rebuild that property is the exact same amount if it's in Sterling Heights, in Grosse Pointe on the water, or in downtown Birmingham.
Yeah, things changed. I mean, the cost to rebuild, the materials are costing more. So it's not unlikely that even the following year, your insurance policy could go up $100. And you guys are sort of handling that for the client. You're actually saying, hey, look, we had to cover you a little bit more to keep that coverage in place.
Right.
God forbid something happens bad to the house.
It's about an average of 4% increase on the dwelling coverage. That will just go up. Yeah, annually.
I didn't know that.
Yep.
It always shocks me here that a homeowner's insurance is relatively an inexpensive thing. Your car insurance is, I know my car insurance might be $3,000 a year or something, and yet you can insure a home for $1,400, and the cost of a car might be $35 or something.
In
versus
most cases, it's about a third of what your auto insurance is. Yeah.
So a lot of great things. Hey, I was going to throw in there real quick also FHA 203K loans. Also, we have our conventional product, the Home Path renovation loans, which are fantastic. Again, a lot of families out there, if you're looking at houses that just don't fit quite your needs list, maybe take a look at an FHA 203K loan. We've got all the answers at Capital Mortgage Funding. Find the right mortgage for the right house. Hey, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker. We'll be right back.
Hi, Harry Glantz and Dan Burke for Capital Mortgage Funding. We do loans everywhere. In Southfield, in Birmingham, in Royal Oak, in Grosse Ile, in Detroit, in Canton, in Northville. No matter where you live, we want to do your mortgage too. That's Capital Mortgage Funding, 1-800-LOW-RATE, the best mortgage banker.
Good morning. Welcome to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show. Would you believe it?
Kind of a mellow introduction,
wasn't it?
I thought that was our song, guys.
And we've got enough energy in here to light up the whole town. December 16, 2017. Welcome again to the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show, brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. I'm your host, Harvey Freed. This is a star-studded lineup right here we got today. I'm going to introduce everyone, and I'll let you guys take it away. Alex Nafusi from Capital Mortgage.
Morning,
hey,
gentlemen
Alex.
and ladies. How are you?
John Kolb, of course.
Morning, guys.
All sorts of knowledge over there. Harry Glantz to my right,
What's
always.
up?
The boss man. And we got a whole elite realty came in to join us. And again, it's TJ Brisboy. TJ, awesome. Great to see you over here. There you are, TJ.
What's up, Harvey?
Across the way. And Andy Borschuk, of course. Andy, how you doing?
Morning, guys.
And
Are you guys nervous or no?
Not at all.
Not nervous
good,
at all.
Good
No.
deal.
Wait, what about
Trisha's down in the corner over here. Hey, Trisha Dork, how you doing over there?
Yeah, Trisha said she did all her show prep. She knows that we ask those trick questions, So we're going to ask different questions today. So, yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you guys stole the test, okay? You went to the frat house, stole the test. You think you got the answers. Right, Alex?
That's a
All right,
secret.
stole the answers to the test. Wrong. New questions. Here we go.
We filled in the Scantron before the test.
I know you did. That's right. So what happened was the dude that you copied off of, he skipped a question, but you didn't realize that. So you got every question wrong.
We had we had test files.
Yeah, I'm sure.
You did. Well, that was what in 90s. What I finished in 2001, and you finished in 2099.
Why are we talking about this right now? I finished. I finished in 96.
Oh yeah, it's a real secret. It's a real secret that happens.
So go ahead, Harv.
Well, you guys.
Sorry to interrupt your show.
No, hey, it's no big deal. We're just going to talk mortgages and real estate. So if any of you are listening out there, definitely give us a call. We're live.
The $1,000 keyword. Text that keyword to 72881 and you'll be entered to win $1,000 in this national contest. Message and data rates apply. Win $1,000 an hour on 97.1 The Ticket. The basketball team that Detroiters love most. The Detroit Pistons live here.
97.1 The Ticket.
Welcome back to the show, 948. It's the Hardcore Mortgage Real Estate Business Show brought to you by Capital Mortgage Funding. Live here on 97.1 in our 18th season. Appreciate all the people out there listening. If you want to give us a call, 248-539-9797. Try to give you extremely objective answers to all your questions regarding mortgages and real estate. We're here to definitely help you save money. A lot of great opportunities out there as we see many families have been hunkering down to refinance. Pulling equity out of their house is definitely a good way to go to consolidate your debt and get yourself set up for the future. Definitely find out how it all works. Again, it's usually the closing costs, the interest rate, and then the service, and making sure that that transaction gets done in a timely manner, and that's the key to it. Again, we will take your calls, 248-539-9797. Definitely home prices have been going up. The U.S. home prices from the Case-Shiller Price Index are showing that 6.3% from last year, as all the numbers are still trickling in from last year. But again, we expect a robust home buying season here, Harry. And as you mentioned, you better get your ducks in a row, because in December, January, and what we just experienced in February, which are typically our little bit slower months, it's been multiple offers and such. And we talk about that plan. If you're going to overbid on a house, make sure you put a separate addendum together or language on that purchase agreement with some minimums on there. And so that way all parties have their expectations set up front, and there's no problems, again.
Or be prepared to pay the difference.
Okay.
Between the appraised value and the sales price.
That's not a bad thing to do either.
That's true.
We wanted to thank always Matt Batanti for coming in also from Lenahan Versicle Insurance and Agency. So again, if you haven't met with your insurance agency, this time of year would be a great time of the year to do it. We did have, Matt, you mentioned about that serious water problem that happened here and back in just a couple of years ago.
Didn't FEMA kick in for that, though, or no?
I don't know if they actually
wasn't the whole city of Huntington Woods? Didn't that flood? Huntington Woods was rough.
A lot of areas, Warren and everything.
Yep.
I love it. I didn't get it at all. When like the street east of me and the street west of me, everything flooded, and of course my basement, whatever, backs up floods.
It just backed up 2 weeks ago.
For no reason.
It's going to happen. There isn't, and again, you don't want to throw a blanket over everything and make it too widespread, but if on a seller's disclosure there should be somebody should say, you know, my sump pump backed up or it flooded or we had this or that. What, you know, a leaky basement, a wet basement, moisture down there, it isn't unusual. But to hide it is the worst part. Okay, it's not unusual. It happens in basements. These things do happen.
Well, you can mediate it, too, and disclose it, and then just say...
Well, what you do is you say, listen, my basement flooded because of what happened in 2014. It happened everywhere, and it's all taken care of.
Here's the receipt from Emergency Restoration.
Everybody expects that, by the way.
Sure. Well, here's the thing. In Oakland County, like, Woodward's the high point. Like from elevation standpoints, everything slopes down away from Woodward.
Okay,
that's why people have wet basements around, like Royal Oak, Berkeley, Birmingham,
even off the Woodward corridor.
Yeah,
right close to Woodward.
As you mentioned, these things can be fixed. And again, a lot of the homes were built back in times when we didn't have quite the technology we have now to figure things out with the different foundation systems that are out there, and along with some draining and some drain tiles that you can put in. So lots of things that can be fixed. Alex, that's a great point. You can fix the problem and then live your life and not have to worry about it moving forward. Hey, a couple of things of interest out there. Of course, talking mortgages last night with my cousin Brad. He want to remind everyone it's Colon Cancer Awareness Month. March is. Make sure you do
talking mortgages and colon cancer.
We're talking it all. We got to throw that in there.
What do you guys? What kind of party were you at?
Hey, we got to include everything.
My God.
Also, MSHDA buyers out there. Yes, we have experts in our office that handle MSHDA. Do you need down payment assistance? MSHDA has a great program. Michigan State Housing Development Authority here in our state of Michigan offers up to $7,500. I wanted to throw that out there. We have plenty of people that specialize in helping you go ahead and arrange that. That way you have your down payment for the purchase of a new house. Also, reverse mortgages.
What are you laughing at?
All right,
what are you giggling on?
Here, I could throw out the public service announcement.
What about Fannie Mae Home Style?
Well, the Fannie Mae Home Path. Home renovation loans, we call it, the conventional home renovation program. Yeah. But also reverse mortgages out there for anyone out there over 62 years old.
The best mortgage banker. Mortgage funding. I just don't know what the programs are called. Way to go, Harv.
There's lots of different names for that.
We all can't be John Kolb.
Exactly. Our reverse mortgage specialist, O'Brien, though, he's been busy actually running a lot of scenarios for families. You can obtain reverse mortgages for purchases also. Yes, reverse mortgages aren't only for refinance transactions. They also can be used for purchases. So if you're looking at putting a lot of money down on a house, it has to do with loan to value. Call us at Capital Mortgage Funding. We'll get you set up with a reverse mortgage guy. Again, it costs you nothing to educate yourself. And, that's one of the things, Matt, is to me, it's always about education. Whatever I'm doing, I'm always like, I need to know a little bit more about this before I sign. And that's the thing with insurance and any of the things we're talking about this morning.
Yeah, insurance is just a major part of your financial future. It's important.
That's all.
And you need to contact your agent just to make sure that everything is what it is. What you just said is you want to go to sleep at night? Be properly insured, and then you don't have anything to worry about.
Maddie, where can someone get a hold of you if they want to do an overview of whatever their insurance?
My office number is 313-886-9922.
Beautiful. Go with it. 313. I like that, buddy. Keeping it real. Oh, man.
All right. Hey, Matt, a couple other things I might want to throw in there also. The umbrella policy, could you explain that real quick? And maybe that pops up in some of the family situations out there.
Yeah, I brought it up earlier about when it comes to liability, right? Umbrella coverage is only for liability. So let's say that you go and have the $1 million on your home, as everybody should, okay? And let's say then your auto insurance, you have $250,000 per incident and up to $250,000 for that accident, and you might have a split limit of $500,000, so $250,000, $500,000. Now you take a $1 million umbrella and you put it over top of anything that you have underlying coverage for, which would bring you to $2 million in liability coverage on your home, and then $1.25 million for each person on the accident.
I was going to say, does it cover everyone in the household?
Yes.
So Agneta and I, we live in sin, but she's not on the policy.
Right. So then she's got no coverage for...
So I should put her on the policy.
What Natalie needs to have is a renter's policy in your home.
But she doesn't rent.
And that's,
she lives for free. She's like Reggie Bush.
But she needs...
on scholarship.
She needs a renter's policy. And Alex, that's a great point. In this day and age...
I'm in so much trouble for just saying that. I am going to get beat when I get home.
You could be in more trouble than you even know.
There's a lot of people living in that situation.
Why would he's like Stoney. He just says stuff.
Why did that come out of my mouth?
Hopefully she's not listening.
I don't know what you got going on.
She's not listening. She's getting a massage.
HClans@lowrateonline.com for all your emails. Send them to me. I'll take care of it.
We do have a couple minutes left here if you'd like to sneak in a call. 248-539-9797. Again, there's been no lack of traffic out there with buyers, that's for sure. Make sure your buyers are all approved. And again, if you're a real estate agent out there, be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. A lot of families out there also, if you have a listing on your house, be sure to call Capital Mortgage Funding. We've been showcasing a lot of the houses that are on the marketplace to a lot of the buyers out there. So again, check us out at Capital Mortgage Funding. You might find the house of your dreams. Also, we've had some for sale by owner families give us a phone call.
Right.
They want to list their house with us.
Well, Harvey, we're also getting a lot of phone calls in recent last 7 weeks, particularly from area realtors wanting to know what our turn times are, how fast can we get loans closed. And I had this conversation with a realtor yesterday. I said, well, when do you need to close? Well, if I need to write a 30-day agreement, can you do it? I said, yes, but do you want a 30-day agreement? I said, it sounds like to me you don't want to write it at 60. Write it at 45, and we'll get it done in less than 30 for you. So don't worry about it. So it's not what our turn times are. It's when do you absolutely need to close by, and we'll take care of it.
Yeah, for that emergency that can come up every now and then.
Right. So if you want to put in an offer and you don't want to put in a standard 60-day offer, write the offer at 45 days. Okay? And then we'll get you in. If you want to close within 30, I've got no problem with it at all. I don't have a problem if you want to close in 2 weeks. However, most of the time you don't need to close because that seller isn't going to get out anyways. Right. And then they're going to pay rent, and they don't want to pay rent. Now,
you know who's pushing for the closing.
Right. They're pushing for the closing. Yeah. You know why. However, let's do it. Let's do it when you need it, and we'll get it done. So, yeah, I agree. Don't write a 60. Make the offer more attractive at a 45-day. And then if the parties want to close or get out, vacate, so the other party can take occupancy, that's fine. So whenever you want to close, we'll close it. But when do you need it to close by? That's the question.
Well, Harry, our efficiencies allow us to close most transactions, if not all, under 30 days. So again, unless you're not organized and you haven't got your ducks in a row, that would be an issue for you. But again, most transactions, refi or purchases, are less than 30 days out there. And again, you might have to change your plans a little bit as you're looking at these houses. There's a lot of obstacles out there. You might run into a house that needs a little bit more work. So your idea of putting 20% down on the house could change. And we have programs with no PMI with less than 20% down. So keeping that money in your pocket to do those home improvements. Again, you might fall in love with a house that has everything but a garage, and now you need to save yourself $8,000 to $15,000 to go ahead and build maybe in a garage behind the house. So a lot of different things out there. We're the experts on it. There's a big difference between dealing with some of the rookies out there. So definitely call Capital Mortgage Funding at 1-800-LOW-RATE. That's 1-800-569-7283. You guys want to jump in with anything else here real quick, because we're up against it.
Yeah, Natalie does have a full-time job.
Oh, here we go.
I'm backpedaling badly right now.
Did she text you?
Yeah. My phone's blowing up.
Everybody forgot about it except for one person.
Well,
I'm
you're going to get it in about 10 minutes.
Right
I'll throw it out here because next week we're actually bringing in Kathy Brooks coming on. So there you go.
Cool. We have realtors coming on. We're also going to have CPAs coming on during and the middle of tax season to talk about what you need to get done in preparation. And everybody's going to wait till the last minute. Everybody knows that. They're going to get their tax stuff. They're going to call their person up and say, hey, I can see you now. Well, your guy's already booked up. Your gal's already booked up. So get your receipts done, get all your bookkeeping done now, and then you'll be ready when you walk in and see your accounting professional.
Yeah, there's so much coming up. This is the time of year where you got to get your paperwork together and make sure you're all prepared. Hey, Matt, that was awesome to have you on here this morning.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Always fun to hear talk insurances. I hope we reminded some of you folks out there to take a look at your insurance policy, read it, and more importantly, call us if you want to get in touch with Matt Patani over there at Lenahan Versical Insurance Agency in Grosse Pointe, home of the Grosse Pointers. And you got to do, if you live in Grosse Pointe, you live there, you work there, and you deal with Matt.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, we'll get you back on here. All right, for Alex Nafusi, for Harry Glantz, I'm Harvey Free. We got Pat Caputo coming up with sports. Keep it here on 97.1 The Ticket. We'll see you next Saturday.